Hi everyone, it's Ren here. I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm gonna take a slightly different approach than I typically do. I guess what I'm gonna do is provide you with a window into my personality, thought process, sides of my life that I don't typically share with other people. I tend to have a lot of conversations with myself in which I talk about things during the day, and sometimes I come up with interesting insights, so I figure that maybe it could be interesting to share. We'll see. It's going to be very rambly though, so I tell you, I warn you in advance. You know, this is like a pretty much unfiltered, breaking the fourth wall kind of video, right? So I'm just going into it, improvising. We'll see where that leads me, okay? But yeah, I'll just, share with you stuff that I thought you might be interested in, or just about my states of mind, my current thinking, everything. Let's see it as a kind of open journal that I do. Instead of doing it in writing, I'm doing it in video. I think the inspiration for this initially came to me while I was having one of those inner monologues, and I do that a lot. And sometimes I have inner monologues that I try to externalize. So instead of just keeping the inner monologues to myself, I voice them inside my own room. So I'd come across like a crazy person if someone heard me. And I think sometimes people hear me and think I'm crazy, and that's okay. But yeah, I just had this moment. I had this idea. I was like, yeah, I mean, I come up with stuff. I have all these ideas. They're not necessarily super fully formed or whatever, but like, why don't I just give a view into them to my audience? I figured that maybe, particularly for people who follow me because of the INFJ side of things, and people who are interested in me as a person, possibly that could be of worth. I mean, it's an interesting question in itself. Like, are people interested enough in me as a person? Maybe I'm like vastly overestimating how interesting I am. So, but let's just say that these times of the day happen every day, and I usually don't open up about them. Not that there is something absolutely impossible to confess, it's just my own little world, Because if you want to know, I'm someone who has a very regimented, structured, to the point of obsession sometimes, routine, life. I mean, in the sense that I usually get up around the same time every day, except at the weekends, where I get up a little later. And I follow a pretty predictable pattern. I wake up, I write in the morning for 2 or 3 hours. I do some editing on my writing, philosophical writing, and I read in the afternoon. Often I read some philosophy and a work of fiction. So I'm reading Proust at the moment, In Search of Lost Time. It's very good so far. And I make videos. I make videos either between the writing sessions and the talking session and the reading sessions, or afterwards. In the current season, it's often wise to do it not too late in the day because it's sunsets early. So, but anyway, so there is still like a whole other part of the day when I'm not writing, when I'm not reading, and when I'm not making videos. And these are things, I swear to you, I do that, especially the writing and the reading. Videos, that's not as important to me, but the writing and the reading, I do at least altogether 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours a day, and if I don't do that, I kind of tend to go a bit crazy. So that's something that occupies a very important place in my life, and it's, sometimes I wonder if it's even healthy, but The rest of the day, I'm just like in my thoughts. Of course, sometimes I'm socializing. I do socialize. I'm an INFJ. I need socializing. Everybody does need socializing. So that's something that I do, definitely. But whenever I'm not socializing and I'm not doing these things, and I'm not watching a TV show or whatever, that's still like many hours in the day. It's still many hours in the day. And I'm just in my thoughts. I'm in my thoughts. But because I think I use NI, though maybe after this video you'll think, well, I use NE because I'm just rambling. Not that NE is necessarily about rambling. Sorry, NE users. But, I'm very happy to just improvise and let my thoughts stream. Because I think I use NI, my thoughts tend to circle around. It's not like I'm producing a stream of new thoughts all the time. Though I'm sure that's a bit of a cliche about any DOMs anyway. But still, there is that tendency, whereas it's not so present in me. The thoughts recur. They're like little crystallized obsessions that keep coming back, and they go away, they come back until like they've knocked at the door enough times that I'm like, okay, I'll write you down. You're actually an insight at this point, so I'll write you down and I'll try to see what I can do with you, if I can make sense of you. And sometimes they make their way into my philosophical notebook. I'm writing this notebook. It's a long notebook at this point. And an NI user will often try to integrate their new insights into their broader insight framework that is quite unified. It's a tendency for NI to always want to make sense of new insights as within an even broader insight-related pattern. It's not a TI pattern, it's really an NI pattern. It's not completely rationalized, but there is a sense, a gut feeling about which all insights that are gathered about reality in general, about experience, make sense as part of a whole, a broader whole. And that's, in my philosophical work, I try to explore that idea and try to systematize it, with TI. So it's funny because, and again, I'm aware that I'm rambling. I'm doing it on purpose, but not on purpose. But I'm allowing myself to do it because this is again like very much a vocalized part of a usually not completely vocalized big chunk of every day for me, right? So I was gonna say that it's funny because when people read me, when people watch my videos, I'm assuming that they think I'm INFJ because I've not ever received or read a comment suggesting that I was something else. There's Mr. ENFP Perspectives, whom I want to shout out because he's commented on a lot of my videos and he has a lot of cool videos himself. ENFP Perspectives initially said to me that he thought I was INTJ, but he's the only person ever since I started this channel that told me that I came across as anything else than INFJ. There's not many people who comment on my INFJness either, and I think maybe that's a good sign if my ambition is to be comforted in the idea that I am INFJ. It's just not often a topic of conversation in the comments to my videos, and the comments to my videos are becoming more, more numerous, let's say, now that I'm past 1,000 subscribers, and thank you so much, guys, for this. I really appreciate it. But I've asked myself that question, and I still have in mind that I wanted to talk about TI and INTPness. This is something that I wanted to. I know that 3 minutes ago I was about to make that tangent, but I'm on a different tangent now. I'm good at keeping my tangents under tight control. So yeah, I now actually have, after boasting about me being able to control my tangents, I kind of forgot. No, I haven't forgotten. I still know what I want to talk about. So not many comments on my INFJness. I've noticed that a lot of the time people comment on INFJs that they don't think are INFJs. I've noticed that. It makes sense that there should be many more comments about an INFJ self-proclaimed, let's say, and not coming across as an INFJ than if an INFJ just happens to really seem like one, because it's not really interesting to confirm that, oh yeah, you are an INFJ, well, the person said it. Whereas if someone introduces themselves as INFJ, and then people are struck by just attitude, behavior, certain physical cues that just don't seem to chime with INFJness, they point it out. It's quite a common thing. I've seen it on many videos, and actually most of the time I agree. I think that INFJs comment and they say, well, actually, you seem more like an ENFP or something else, an INFP. I have in mind a video. I don't know if you guys have seen that video where it's like a black and white video, and I think the guy who records the video is friends with the people that he interviews, and there's like an INTP. The first one I saw is INTP, INTJ, and INFJ. The INFJ is called Paige, I think. The INTJ is a girl called Annette, and the INTP I can't remember. But they're interviewed, the three of them together, and then there's like other interviews of the INTJ woman, let's say woman, alone and with the INFJ Paige, and an interview of the INTP guy. There's also an interview of an ENFJ guy. So it's a black and white video. I'm sure that some of you guys have seen it, and it's really interesting to pay close attention to, not only to this video, but to the comments as well, because to me it's very clear that the INFJ guy Paige is an ENFP, is not an INFJ. He's not using FE at all. He's using FI, and he is anying. He's going on very numerous any tangents. Doesn't use TI either, and that's pointed out in the comments, and it's really funny because you see a lot of people say, "Oh, he's so INFJ," and I'm thinking, well, if you think that, then you're an ENFP yourself, and you're identifying with an ENFP, even though on the surface it's an INFJ identifying with another INFJ, but Paige is not an INFJ. And in fact, another piece of evidence that made me realize that he wasn't INFJ, from the start, it was like the first moment. I had not even started listening to him, but he appeared on the video with an Israel flag, and it's completely okay to be proud of being Israeli, let's say. But in view of what Israel is doing to Palestinians worldwide, all the human rights issues, the controversy around not the country but the government, an FE user, I mean, nobody should do that, but an FE user is, because FE users tend to be very, not concerned, but aware of what they're projecting as an image. They will never display an Israel flag in a video like this, particularly a video that's supposed to talk about how you're an INFJ. It's not possible, basically. And it's the INTJ girl. I think she's definitely an INTJ. She comes across as that. The INTP guy is definitely INTP. And it's very interesting as a video. I liked it. But all this is to say, there's this example, and there's the example of many other INFJs online who are not really INFJ, and people point it out. I mean, it's not pointed out in my case, so I'm going to safely assume that people are usually quite happy to say that I'm an INFJ. And now I'm going to return to the tangent that I've kept in mind 10 minutes ago about TI. I wanted to say that in my writing, I think when people read my writing, so not video but writing, what comes across the most is perhaps TI. And when I read my own writing, I mean, I can definitely see some bits of FE and some bits of a lot of NI, because the NI is the vision, it's what drives the work. It's not necessarily what's visible in the words. You need to have the bigger picture, the big picture sort of idea of the work as a whole to get whether it is a product of NI, if it's written by an INFJ. And I think that what you see if you read my philosophical writing, what you see almost more than anything else is TI, you know. And I think that's why for a long time I considered the possibility of being like an INTP or particularly shy and reserved ENTP. Not that it's very common, but it's possible. I mean, I don't really identify with any that much, I think. But again, maybe this video will change the game. Maybe you'll be like, he's rambling so much. I don't know. But like, this is literally an example of a vocalization of thought that revolve in my mind. So yeah, I've been asking myself these questions, and so the philosophical writing is definitely a big part of my life. TI, very TI heavy, dominated by NI vision. I mean, people who have been watching my philosophical videos, but not just any philosophical videos, the videos on open monism, my system, bit ponderous to affirm that I've created a system, but I don't know what else to say. You know, they know that I come up with concepts like open-groundedness and space, immanent space, and the five aspects, the five attributes of immanence, the tripartite aspectuality of being as structure, being as content, being as reality, with no empirical basis whatsoever. It's purely an NI insight, in my opinion, and that's driving the investigation into the nature of being. You know, that's what I'm doing, and I start from this insight. To me, it's very clearly an NI insight, and I try to unpack it, to unravel it via TI, and also to keep the reader committed and to not alienate him too much with abstraction. I should not say alienate him, alienate them. I try to be a bit of an FE teacher as well, to say, okay, we're going to be doing this together and let me explain, and you know, I take my time as much as possible doing that. So there's definitely at least those three functions quite visibly, I think, in my work. But it's weird because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I don't really come across as a very TI heavy person in my behavior and everything else, but it's just so present in my philosophical work. Maybe I just cannot really do anything else TI related afterwards, but I do because I'm on a forum, and on the forum that I'm a member of, an INFJ forum. I mean, I often take part in conversations, in threads that demand TI use. You know, the INFJ forums generally have philosophy sections because INFJs tend to be, as a rule, attracted either to philosophy or to spirituality or to esotericism, and often these topics are obviously connected. Psychology also, and so often I engage in these topics from a TI perspective, on, you know, connecting to the NI perspective. TI in me is a bit of a mystery. I mean, I think that I can sort of see how I utilize it, and I can sort of see sometimes when I overuse it. In my most stressed periods in life, I have overused TI, I think. I've relied on it too much instead of just allowing myself to be guided by my intuition. Because sometimes TI can give you the illusion that it's more reassuring, that you're rationally in control of what you do. But if you're an INFJ and you overuse it, you're going to burn out after a while. You'll be in overdrive mode, and you'll end up blowing up, you know. But yeah, I don't know, because I have a very intimate connection with that function, and at the same time I just know it's not the function that I should be always using. So I'd be curious if you guys, I think that there are definitely some NITI INFJs in my audience. If there are guys, you know, you guys, some of you anyway, relate to this difficulty. It's not a difficulty, but with this very clear, heavy presence of TI in your life, you know. It's almost as if an ENFP was making a video about how they were just really TE heavy. And I'm sure there are ENFPs that made the video about that. But when an external observer, a non-ENFP, think about ENFPs, often what we think about is NE and then FI. But we rarely think about TE heavy ENFPs, because you'd imagine they'd almost look like INTJs, except they use NE, but or ENTJs, I don't know. It's very tough to think about an ENFP looking like an INTJ or an ENTJ, but wouldn't that be the equivalent of like an INFJ with strong TI coming across as an ENTP or an INTP? I think so. So why not? Why does it seem to be the case that a lot of INFJs are TI heavy, whereas it seems from an outsider's perspective, this could be wrong, that there are not as many, proportionally as many ENFPs who come forward identifying as TE heavy. Not as many, it seems to me, but this could very well be an outsider's perspective. I lack the hindsight, and I lack the perspective on ENFP from the ENFP perspective, to be able to really make worthwhile conclusions about that kind of stuff. But anyway, it's a great day today in Geneva. It's going to stay grey until tomorrow for sure. I'm not unhappy with my day so far because I woke up not early exactly. I woke up a bit before 10, but I went to bed at 2 because I was watching Stranger Things season 2 and I was really hooked, so I had to watch the whole. I had like two episodes to watch, and I watched both of them, which is why I finished late-ish. I went to bed late-ish. I thought that show was great. Yeah, really like what it does with this mix of like horror and the fantastic, and then the 80s revival, and then the kids movie. It's all mixed together really remarkably well, and there are so many interesting, striking characters that you remember easily. I like 11 a lot. I don't know, yeah. I really like her as a character. She's so cute and so badass. But anyway, I realized something recently, which is that if I have something to start my day with and I have something to end my day with, I tend to be less susceptible of feeling depressed. I mean, I've sometimes I can have a tendency towards feeling depressed, which I try to repress, and it comes out as anxiety more so. But there's an element of depression. But I've realized that waking up not too late is very important. Having something to do in the morning, doing something meaningful, my philosophy, and doing other meaningful things during the day, and having something to do at night, even if it's just watching a TV show, and having that structure organized like that. It's very important, So I try to stick to it, and I think it works. So yeah, we'll see. I have not read yet. This is already my second video, so after this I'll be done with my videos, I think. And maybe I will call this like the life of an INFJ, and it's like an introduction into, an introduction to my psyche, enter into my thought process, something like that. I'll see. And this will be the first episode, and if some people like it and they find it interesting, I'll make some more. And if people are like appalled by how self-absorbed and self-centered it is, and how rambly it is, and how it doesn't seem to have a point, which is in a sense the point, I guess I won't make more, or maybe I'll make some more, and I won't care. I'll just, if that's kind of therapeutic for me, I'll make more, and people are welcome not to watch it. We'll see. But yeah, wonder if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. It's already kind of a long video, so maybe I'll stop here. Yeah, I really look forward to releasing videos I've made already, one in which I answer questions from people. I wanted to answer those questions, so I've done that, so I'm going to be publishing that video soon. another one where I talk. It was also a suggestion from a member of the audience about how I came to discover that I was INFJ and settled for it. So my path of self-discovery towards being INFJ. I will release that one today, I think, because I recorded it yesterday, so I could do that. And then there will be this video that I need to figure out when I'll release it. Sunday today, but I'm not going to release it today. We'll see. Maybe I release it a day when I don't really have inspiration, and I'll just release it because it's part of my backlog, if you like. So yeah, I'd have other things to talk about, but I'm conscious of time, so I'll stop here for now, and I'll see you in my next episode, maybe next week, maybe I don't know when, of the life of an INFJ. Okay? See you guys. Have a great Sunday. I hope you are doing well, that you're in good health, and that you are looking forward to a very productive next week.